You can be my ambassadors. Uh-oh. Close the doors, please, Tim. Thank you. Yeah, let's lock it in. Okay, here we go. So what does that mean to be an ambassador for a stewardship ambassador? It means that we're going to be extending and expanding, and part of our extending is by inviting others to make a pledge. So I'm very happy to report that I played the role of ambassador, and while we were all snowed in, or not snowed in, but all at home, I sent an email to our stewardship team, and I sent an email to the board, and I said, time to pledge, we're live, we're doing this, let's go, and 100% response. Thank you leadership for doing that, and you can do the same as folks that are connected to our social groups and our Faith in Action and all the other elements. When you make your pledge, just let people know, I made my pledge, how about you? And that's all we're asking ambassadors to do. So if you're out there and want to bring this up to your next group meeting, your OUC folks, just say, I pledged. So that's my request. Now we're done. No, okay, thank you. So most of this room are our stewardship crew. So I'm your ship captain, yes, and Nancy Curtis, yay, who we saw beautifully on the video. She's been working on mailing and outreach, and Colby has been working on publications and editing. And Karen Landsberg has been our data girl, a data woman, sorry, and been doing a great job in looking at our past giving and what we need to expect for the future. And Reverend Eric Ness has been our board liaison and helped Riley do those videos, and that was really awesome. Yes, 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 yes. Frances Tanaka has been our events queen. I will just give you the title, give her a crown, and doing a lot of outreach, and all those Valentines that got to go out to those that we haven't seen in a while. It was really fun. I did it. It was very rewarding, very rewarding. Thank you. And Frank Turner, there you are, Frank, right in front of me. And lead writer got us going really quickly on. We've been working since December, and did the research and really helped us jumpstart our group. And I want to also say thank you to the staff and the volunteers that came out for the Valentine's party, the volunteers that are offering their support when we do our dinner on the 16th. So we're excited about all that work too. So just quickly, to the stewardship goals, that's two out. Our vision was that we wanted to work together to create that spirit of mutual care and generosity. I think that's what we really are about, loving each other, caring for each other. You matter, and today's message was just so right on. And this idea that generosity is something that we have in all of us, and it feels good to give. And our mission was to try to extend our reach, but not just the members, but all of our folks that can contribute to our work here at OUC. And that means those that might be coming new, parents that drop their kids off like I did back in the day, and don't participate in Sunday services. So we're looking at really talking about, talking to everybody. This is not just on the members, it's not just on the friends, but on everybody who participates in our community. So that takes a lot of extra effort, and we knew it going in, that would be the case. The budget's bigger this year. The pledge drive is bigger this year. And we're looking at increasing current pledges from 20 to 25%. We know that's huge, a huge ask for folks. Gregory and I, as ambassadors, increased our pledge by over 60% this year, and pretty excited about that, being able to make that increase, and we feel really good about it. So there you go. I feel good about it. I'm proud of us. Yay! So And then the number of pledges need to increase. It's either two things. It's either everybody has to give more, or the currents have to give more, and then, or we got to extend and expand and connect with more folks. So we're going to do both. And then our goal is to raise $557,090 by April, because the board then needs the budget information. They need to know where we're at, because OUC's pledging is 88% of the revenue sources for our congregation. So this is critical stuff. Let's see. Okay. There we go. Okay. So our strategies, because I'm training you all to be stewards. Yay! You didn't know that coming in. I didn't know that when we came in, so here you go. We're doing it all. Direct mail, information tables, video testimonies, which we will have 3. The web page is so easy to use, and it says like donate like 5 times, so you can't miss it to make your pledge. Very easy pledging options, all of the information out there, weekly updates, this forum, text messages, email messages, community connecting events are what a big part of this. A lot of thank yous and acknowledgement. It's my personal belief that you thank before you ask. And so thank you, thank you, thank you. And acknowledge that gift is so wonderful. And it means a lot to our congregation and our viability and sustainability into the future. And then we'll do leaf communion at the end. I wanted to just stop right now because Monica did it all, Reverend Monica did it all, but that we're gonna do a little thing representing the tree because we're continuing with that theme. And then you can see we've got all of the dates down here. Our next celebration and thank you and acknowledgement will be the Irish Sunday dinner on the 16th. So we're taking over the community dinner and we'll be serving Irish Sundays. Does anybody know what an Irish Sunday is? Yeah. We used to do it in my, Gregory and I were band fundraising parents. Oh my gosh, yes. So we know the county fair, and Sundays were part of that fair. So we're adopting that. So, so this is what we've got going on. And of course, we'll celebrate all the way through because I love to party, and we're going to continue to party and celebrate each other for sure. And then, yeah, we hope that we get the majority of our pledges in by March 26th. That's our last Sunday, where we'll do leaf communion, and we will. Our theme is "Love Will Guide Us," which is interesting because we came up with that. We came up with that before the song today, so that was perfect, absolutely perfect. So I'm going to invite Reverend Mary to come up and talk about all what we've done thus far this past year, what we're hoping to accomplish this coming year, and give us a little inspiration about how we're moving forward.
Thank you, Carmel, and thank you for being here. What a marvelous stewardship team this year, and just wonderful, wonderful energy. So Carmel asked me to talk a little bit about what we've accomplished and what's ahead of us. And, you know, when the stewardship team said, well, you know, what have we accomplished? I said, we're still here. And that is not a small thing right now. We are still here. It's been a few years. It's been a few really challenging years. And it's been a hard time for many organizations and many people. It's been an especially hard time for congregations. And some congregations are not doing well. And we are not only not doing well, we are thriving and we are growing. So we've come back together this year. Our theme was to focus on coming together in community and in covenant. And we've done some things to really support that this year. And I got some numbers for you, for the numbers folks. So during these last 3 years of COVID, because it's going to be 3 years this month since we shut down, we've had 6 new member classes, all online. We've had 70 people enrolled in the new member classes, and we've welcomed 42 new members during this time. Yeah, exactly. Our membership is currently 311 members. Right before COVID, we were at 312. So we've held our own, and that is not a small thing, trust me, during this time when churches are very much in flux and congregations. We are going to hold our first new member class in person in 3 years in just a couple of weeks, and we have 8 people enrolled in that class. So yes, we are a growing and thriving congregation in many ways. Our worship remains strong. Our worship attendance between online and in person is at pre-COVID levels, which was high. We were crowded in here, remember, for 2 services. We are offering one multi-generational social event per month. That's something Reverend Sarah and I committed to. So in February, it was the Valentine's Making Party, which was a wonderful multi-generational event with frosting everywhere. In January, it was the fire communion that was outside over the New Year holiday. And then we've got some things coming up as well for solstice, spring solstice, and gathering. And just a preview, we have 3 staff people who have anniversaries this year. Reverend Sarah and Anissa have been with the congregation 15 years. And Marie has been with the congregation 10 years. And so we'll be having a celebration of their commitment to OUC, which has been wonderful. So lots of good things coming up. And then Reverend Sarah had this brainchild of, well, let's feed people once a week. And so the Thursday community dinner was born. And oh my goodness, if you have not attended, I invite you to. It's a wonderful coming together, multi-generational again, and people show up and they share a meal. Our attendance in those is between 30 to 35 on average. We had 70 people for baked potato night. We like our carbs, and for the chili cook-off. And so we just put up more tables and more people come and share that time. So it's really a wonderful time together. OUC's music program is thriving. I can't tell you how many of my colleagues lost their music programs, their music directors, and their choirs during COVID. And they are just now looking for people and trying to recreate a music program. Troy will tell you he's not a tech guy, and he learned how to do multi-platform choir and multi-platform voice class, and he still does that. And so the choir has remained strong. It's changed. For sure, it's changed. But, you know, Troy knows the first Sunday the choir was here in their masks and we had harmonies for the hymn. Oh my goodness, I was weepy. So the choir is also a place where we welcome visitors and newcomers. We got a bunch of new folks in the choir, which is a really wonderful welcoming. The faith and action efforts have coalesced around 3 areas: climate justice, economic justice, and anti-racism, and there are teams for each of those areas now. Reverend Sarah's put together a Faith in Action alert list, which right now is really super busy with bills in the legislature. So easy ways for us to influence what's happening at the state level and how we make decisions about what happens in our own state. The adult religious education has been growing with classes. Adult ed is back and offering small groups and other classes. Our children and youth programs are strong, and we do have families that are visiting. And what we're finding is that families and youth are engaging with us in different ways than they have before, and it's often not on Sunday morning. And so we know that we need to really be in touch with our children and families and what they're needing, and to adapt and do things differently than we've ever had them done them before. That's the area of our congregational life that's probably changing the most and the most rapid. And so we're really feeling like we have to be adaptable there. Our community service remains strong. Folks stayed steady with the community kitchen and other community events. And I want to give a shout out to Joanne Young's new Equity Library, which is down across from my office. It's a place where you can check out books for children and youth on issues of anti-racism. And we also began a revisit of our covenant last fall. And there's been a wonderful writing team that is coming up with a behavioral covenant, and in 2 weeks we'll have a forum on the draft that they've created, so that we have some concrete ways about how we want to be together in covenant. So we've really worked hard to come together again in community and covenant. We've been connected and flexible. All of the online support that we have with the amazing tech team, woohoo! Even when the TV goes out, they get it back again, and we roll with it. And the whiteboard on the back for giving us messages for what's happening. You know, we figure stuff out, right? So we've been able to offer multi-platform worship, multi-platform classes. We have a bunch of groups that are meeting online. The board meets online every month. Some groups meet in person. The pastoral care team meets online in the wintertime when it's cold, and it meets on, you know, so we just have that flexibility, right? I want to give a shout out to the pastoral care team and the memorials receptions team. We've had a lot of losses during this time of COVID, and they have adapted marvelously to online worship, to outside services, to some in the sanctuary. You might remember that when our member Brad Gupta died, we planned the service for a Friday night so that his family in India could join us. We've just been able to do marvelous things so that we can be together and support each other in our mourning. I also want to give a shout out to the OUUC staff. This is an amazing staff that has been wonderfully consistent, not only through all the minister transitions before I arrived, but in the time of COVID. We've added some new folks who are absolutely committed to what we do here. So Darlene, Sarah, Troy, Marie, Anissa, Andrea, Teresa, and Carbon. I am so fortunate to have wonderful coworkers in our ministry together here. So we have some challenges and opportunities that are ahead of us to build on all of our successes. So we probably need to go to a second service because it's pretty full in here, and what a marvelous thing to have happen, right? I also want to mention that we're pretty committed to keeping this area up here. Those of you who are here saw the little one roaming around up here, and yeah. So we know that that's a way to be welcoming to families and to give a message that children and youth are welcome in our worship service. So we probably are going to look to offer 2 services in the fall. That's where we're headed right now, although we monitor the attendance and how things are doing here. Reverend Sarah and I have put together a survey to go out to the congregation in the next couple weeks. We want to ask you what Sunday mornings look like for you now and what they might look like in the future, what you think you might want to be engaged in and how you want to be engaged. We also want to ask about Thursdays. We've noticed that the Thursday evening spiritual practice attendance is lowering. Class attendance has been, you know, kind of spotty. And so what would you like to have happen after the community dinner, if anything? So really want your feedback and engagement with that. And just so you know, Reverend Sarah and Anissa have called all of the families in the congregation to just invite a conversation of what they're looking for. So we've already polled the families. We want to get some more input on these things from you all. We are going to continue offering multi-platform services and other options. This was an aspiration when I arrived almost 4 years ago. Now it's pretty much expected that congregations will be online. It's not out of the norm at all, particularly for mid-sized and large congregations. I asked Arlene to figure out how much it cost for us to go online. And it's been about $11,000 so far, which is not a small amount. A lot of that was equipment, and some of that is the monthly subscriptions. We have 3 Zoom accounts, we have Vimeo accounts, we have, you know, video editing and YouTube and all the things, right? And then we have licenses for music that we play and that we stream. We had another license to get for showing the lyrics online. So we're attending to all of the justice issues around copyright. So that's what that looks like. And that does not include the trained staff to run the equipment that we have. We really appreciate the volunteers who step up and help, Fritz and Ryan and others who can step in. And we found that typically it's 2 trained staff people on for Sunday mornings that's keeping us live and working well. I see Fritz is We love you, Fritz, on the soundboard, and yep, it's challenging. So even though when we go to 2 services, we will only stream one of those services, we'll still need tech for both services because we have remote speakers. If we go online when the weather is bad or the electricity's out or any of the other things that we've pivoted for in these last years, our worship leaders sometimes go online. We show videos for Share the Plate and readings and other kinds of things. So we'll still need tech support for 2 services, and the budget reflects that. We have increased our outreach to families and how we welcome them. We are offering this year, we have youth who we pay to be part of the RE programming, so that there's youth support for our youngest ones who are in a classroom together in spirit play. We also pay youth to staff our nursery. They're trained, and they have background checks and all the things that we do. And so this is a way that we can give our youth some work experience. They're well supervised, and that's in the budget as well. Those are new things. And what we want to do in the fall when we go to 2 services is to have RE programming and nursery care for both services. And that's something new that we haven't done before. Because, you know, it used to be it was the first service where family came, then it was the second service where families came. We have no idea now, right? And so we just have to try some things and see what works. Our community life is also robust, and that shows up in the budget. We put a donation container out for the Thursday evening dinners, and that helps with the cost of the Thursday dinners, and we need to supplement that. And what we're really committed to is making that a place where donations are welcome and everybody is welcome. Doesn't matter if you are able to contribute or not. Reverend Sarah did a really nice write-up and analysis about the difference she's observed between community life funding and RE funding. This congregation historically has funded religious education for children and youth quite well. The budget for community life has been tiny. And the expectation was that people who participated in events and such would pay their own way, which, if you have means, works well. If you don't, it means you're not welcome. And so we really want to beef up our community life budget. And so it's many, many times what is typically in the budget so that we can support our connection with each other and make sure everyone is welcome. This is about inclusion and justice. And then the last thing I want to mention is just compensation for staff. There is a request for a cost of living increase for staff this year. That is a big number. It's 10%. And that's because the inflation rate has been 9% this last year. Those of you on Social Security got an 8.7% increase in January. And I just want to point out that this is a cost of living increase. It's not recognizing merit, and it's not recognizing longevity. It is simply maintaining what we have now. And I have some energy around that for a couple of reasons. It's the right thing to do now for all staff. And I'll confess it's a little bit uncomfortable because I'm one of those people, and I'm protecting my wonderful coworkers, right? The other thing that's important about that is that in order for OUC to be a competitive employer, we have to have competitive rates of pay. And one of the things that's going to happen in this next year that's reflected in the budget is that Darlene is going to retire. Yeah, so you can you can make that noise all together. Yeah, make that noise all together. Yeah, exactly. Just take a breath, take a breath. And so we're going to go out into the marketplace, which is not in favor of employers right now, and we're going to be looking for what I've budgeted for is a part-time office assistant to staff the office and a part-time business manager, because we really need somebody with the administrative skills to take some of the load off of me and to take some of the work that Darlene has done. We're going to be out in the marketplace looking for 2 new staff, and we need to be competitive. I also want this congregation to be competitive in all the ways that staff may turn over. We've been really blessed with longevity in staff, and folks don't stay forever. They want to retire or move on or whatever. And at some point, I will leave you, not soon, but I will. That's right, but I will. And I know of 2 congregations that had a minister in their candidating process and could not come up with compensation that allowed that minister to serve, one of them in the Seattle area. And so we've been using the UUA guidance, which changed this year, and Olympia's cost of living index raised. So right now, none of the staff positions are within the UUA guidance. And for some of us, it's $4,000 to $8,000 lower than it should be for the minimum. And so we'll be putting together a work group to look at how we get, how we can raise those over time. We can't do that all in 1 year. And really, that's it's not only just compensation for current staff. It's looking to the future of keeping OUC competitive in a tight market. So there's, just the regular cost of living things that have gone up. You might have noticed in your own households, the cost of food has gone up, utilities have gone up, all the things go up. Insurance costs go up. We anticipate a 7% increase in health insurance, and OUC pays 80% of that for staff. The staff pay 20%. And so we all feel that in our pocketbooks as well. There's some new taxes that have been put in place that are good things, but they're new taxes that we'll be picking up. So that's kind of the lay of the land for our opportunities going forward financially and what we aspire to. I want to give a shout out to a couple of folks. Gregory Robinson is one. Gregory is my go-to person for helping with figuring out what the personnel budget looks like, and I'm just incredibly grateful for Gregory, because I'll come up with these things and he's right there. Yes, thank you, Gregory. And whenever I say, what do you think about this, he might pause for a second, but he's right there with me, so thank you. And then to our OUC treasurer, Jeff Goltz, who, both Gregory and Jeff serve on the finance consulting team with Darlene and I and our bookkeeper, and they just are wonderful models of good stewardship of the finances of this congregation, and with a view toward where we go forward for our financial help. I also want to give a shout out to OUC's board. Just help, join me in thanking the board. The board has been incredibly thoughtful and careful in thinking about this budget and what we need and how we go forward, and using our resources and really reflecting our values in that. So thank you so much for all that you do and for being here.
Thank you. Well, you heard it, and in summary, we're looking at the budget with increasing staff salaries with the cost of living adjustment, and you heard about the retirement and replacing staff being a high priority this year as far as hiring new people and making sure that we're market ready to bring new staff on if it comes and when it comes an option. And the other reason that some of this adjustment for more revenue is because we've been fortunate these last 2 years. We had Georgia's legacy gift and we had the PPP dollars to offset some of the costs, bringing revenue sources in so we could balance our budget and operate as successfully as we have had this past couple years. So with those being one-time funds and expended funds, we now are looking at stewardship to be a part of filling up where that is left off. And you heard about our online and keeping with the multi-platform methods, and I think that's awesome. We know that our reach is extended from that work, and people are looking at us online, and I even share it with my son. I go, hey, you want to watch this service, and because he's like, nah, I won't go to church anyway, and what community life has been doing and breathing life back into our congregation through this really troubled time is impressive, and we want that to not stop going on. Let's do this, keep doing this. And then we know we have an old building, it's not that old. I think of some churches that they're in these 1900 things, and I can't believe how they survive. But we know there's a lot of issues, and we've addressed those issues, and we'll be addressing that. I think the most important thing I want to express is that the board is considering that using the capital campaign funds to help pay the mortgage and pay it down and pay maybe it off. Could we just do that? And that would be so awesome. And that's going to be real important because those funds, mortgage payments, have come out of our stewardship dollars and our general revenues. So it's really going to be good to see that be where we can get some more wiggle room for our staff and for just general maintenance on our building. So the budget comparison, and I'm sorry, this probably, I don't know about the online people, but when I look on it in my computer, it is really hard to see. And I guess this is also online, y'all, and it is, so in the, we have a web page, and the web page has this particular information available. So if you want to really study it, you can see it. And I do apologize for this quality. Oh, may the spirit, okay, sorry. Okay, because I have to look at it myself, because even my copy looks bad. Okay, so let's look at the revenue side on the left. And as you can see, the top, the dark blue and the dark green were those dollars that we had available through the legacy gifts and our PPP. And if you look at the lighter blue below, of course, is stewardship. And if you would just move those two dark lines of blue and green over, you can kind of see where the backfill, that we need to increase our pledges so that we can actually make up for those revenues not being available to us. So that's the most important thing on this slide. Trying to read every little detail, and you can kind of see our community life, which I think is in the, or e-cells, which is Susan Dodson's, is being consistent there, which is most awesome. So let's look at the expenditure side, which is on the right side of your screen. And you can definitely note that light blue is now personnel, and our personnel, looking at that cost of living adjustment, are anticipating paying at a better market rate. All of that is where you can see the adjustment from the blue on the 22-23 side to the right, far right, which is the 23-24 side. But everything else is a little bit, pretty consistent all the way around. Spiritual life, faith development, resource ministry, and community life, as well as faith in action. And those look pretty consistent from this fiscal year to next fiscal year. So really, if you want more information about this, you do study it, do look at it. It is online, it's available, it's easier to read. But I just wanted you just kind of to see the color coding that's happening there that can draw your eye to what are we looking for and what do we anticipate for this coming year. Okay. So with that, Reverend Mary and myself are here to answer any of your questions, to gain clarification, like what do you mean by this or that, or PPP, or whatever words we use today in some kind of code. And just any general information you're looking for to help you become a stewardship ambassador.
Oh, fine.
Oh, fine.
I'm sorry, we have to leave. I have a phone call coming in. But I want to thank you, Carmel. No, don't do that. Thank you, because you have energy and you have knowledge and you have guts. And I want to thank you for all you've done and how you're focusing this particular stewardship drive. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Very sweet. Thank you. Question?
I think mine's more of a comment. So there was,
Do you want to go back to the other
it
slide?
was the graph,
Uh-huh.
I think, or before the graph. Anyway, it said
Okay.
building maintenance and repair. Does that include grounds maintenance?
Oh, so most certainly. And if something like the floors need to be waxed because they're now, having issues with that, or we need to replace a window because it started to leak. Those are kind of like the general maintenance sort of things, not the big capital kind of costs. So, and the cost of having Marie here to make sure our facility is safe and open and ready for our congregants. So it's all around us and all through us. Whatever just comes up during the year, for sure. Does that answer your question? Outside maintenance? Sure. Like the
growing things.
the plants. Well, we have volunteers who take care of our growing things, but I'm not sure how much we actually have allocated to growing things. So, zero.
Right. So how the budget is developed is Darlene is responsible for the resource ministry budget. She gets input from buildings and grounds and looks at, all the expenses and such, and gives me a budget that I then put all together. So in that resource ministry line, there are some things, I know there's some tree trimming stuff in there, and so that's how that's developed. Lynn, it might be good, just to get your specific question answered, for us to drill down, for you and I to look at drilling down in Darlene's budget request and see what's in there. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep, happy to do that with you.
Great.
And on any of them, actually, if you have specific questions, I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that stuff. So anyway, you could tell. Other questions?
Anybody online?
And what anything online, folks? Nothing online? Okay, well, let us know. You know where we are. Okay, great. So, in conclusion, look at us, Reverend Mary, 45 minutes. We're so good. Yahoo! We didn't want to keep you because I get hungry about this time. And I wanted to make sure that you were receiving the message without hunger. And I want to just encourage you to pledge today. Don't delay. Pledge today. We will be looking at our midway point. Karen is working with the data side. We'll be measuring along the way how we're doing towards our goal. And the webpage is really well prepared for you to answer most of your questions. There's the shared the Fair Share Giving Guide, for sure, the church budget, and some of the graphs that you saw today. It tells you about how you might make that annual pledge. We've made it very, very easy. And your payment options, as far as monthly or quarterly or an annual sum, whatever fits your family and your household. So we want to make sure that the pledging part is now. The paying part is in July, technically. And our new fiscal year is July 1 through June 30. So your pledge today is not that I need to write a check today, but it is about preparing your family budget and your household to look at that pledge through next year. So, any other questions online that came through? Oh, well, that's lovely. All right. So, y'all have a wonderful day, and we will see you back here next Sunday where we'll have more information for you. Yay! We did it. 45 minutes. We did it. Now we can go to lunch. Yes, now we
Nicely
can
done.
eat.
Where are you going to go?
We don't know.
Oh, fun.
Oh, he's been jonesing for a baked potato with chili. And I won't do it for him.